Hello, thank you for joining me, Jeani, your guide for the next hour here at the ACC Community Room. We are going for our yoga, gentle yoga practice, where we begin at the back of the mat with a little bit of warm-up, move into a walking meditation, sort of a modified sun salutation. And then we'll be using the chair today, as well as some blocks for some hip openers, some balancing. So aside from that, if you have your usual props, go ahead and have them nearby. But we will start on that note. Just arrive at the back of the mat. And giving ourselves just the time to check in. Don't know what's brought you to class. Don't know how your week has been. But for the next hour, let's see how the body responds to the practice. Just noticing how you're arriving gives us the chance to slow down the breath rate, heart rate. And at this point, we can bring our left palm to rest on our chest, right palm under the belly, and just breathe deeply for the next few moments. See if on the inhale, how parts of the body expands, lifts. And on the exhale, as the energy leaves the body, gently press in the belly hand. Engage your core at the bottom of that exhale. And then we'll finish our warm-up with the breath, the sound of the ocean at the back of the throat. And then we can go ahead and bring the hands down to the side, nice and relaxed. Gentle bend to the knees, deeply if your legs are tight. And we'll go ahead, feet, hips distance apart in our mountain. Inhale deeply, start to feel the energy lifting through the body. In our mountain, we're getting just a little taller, a little longer. With the exhale, find that energy releasing reverse order down the body, through the feet to the mat. Rooted. Inhale, start to bring that center of gravity towards the toes. Nice slow inhale, stopping at the edge, hopefully. And use the next breath, exhale back towards the heels. Find that center of gravity shifting slightly to the edge. And for the next breath or two, just get that heel to toe alignment. We'll meet at center, at the top of the ankles, near to the heels, in mountain. With the next inhale, go ahead and step into that lifting action up through the crown of the head. And then exhale over to the right edge of your feet. With that slight exhale, we're going to inhale back up to center and exhale over. That's a 3-part breath. If you'd like to just use each inhale and exhale to explore the side-to-side movement of the center of gravity at the soles of the feet, feel free. And then we'll meet back at center once more in mountain. Dipping in, let's inhale, lengthening through the mountain, and make small circles in one direction, starting at the ankles, radiating outward, larger circles until we find that perimeter of the feet. And then go ahead and tighten in the circles. Come on back towards the ankles, to the center. And we'll reset the mountain once more, inhaling tall through the crown of the head. Small circles in the opposite direction, radiating once again at the ankles towards the edge of the feet. And notice if there's a different experience. Sometimes you're just going to engage the body differently, and that just lets you know the state of the body. Go ahead and come back to center, meeting here. Lift the feet if you have a tendency to grip the mat. We'll move on up to the body's hips knees area. Spread the feet out a little bit, pivot out the toes if you need. Start shifting the weight from side to side, one foot to the other. And then start to settle in. And as you've got that shifting, you can start to pivot at the tops of the shoulders, using your knees gently. And as you find more of the torso going towards one side, just lift the foot, pivot on the heel, and bring the toes into the same direction as your chest. Hopefully we're not going to torque the other knee that's standing, as you just simply let that momentum help loosen the arms, the shoulders, the hips, maybe a little bit in the knees and ankles. And we'll let that energy peter out, come on back to center. We return to our mountain, hips distance are our feet, heel to toe alignment. We'll move on up towards the shoulders. Now at this point, see if you can get a little longer, a little taller. Notice if the tailbone is sticking out or if it's tucked under slightly. We want to see if we can get that hip stacked over the knee, over the ankles. So taking the next deep inhale from the feet all the way up through the crown of the head, lift the shoulders towards the ceiling, and then at the exhale, we're just simply going to let them roll back and down, melting down the back, maybe the points of the shoulder blades tucking into the mid-back. A total of 4 of these. Inhales up, exhales back and down. Use your ocean breath to help facilitate. And don't forget your rooted stability of the body from the hips down. And as you approach your very last breath cycle, we'll repeat another set and inhaling the shoulders up. This time we'll exhale them forward and down, still melting them into the mid-back at the end of the exhale. Engage the core as well. That just helps to kind of empty out the body. And then after that last exhale, let's go ahead and move on up to the neck and the throat, readjusting your mountain if you need to. Palms are facing forward, shifting upwards once more, resetting, feeling tall, like a string pulling you up through the crown of the head. Let's go ahead and inhale all the way upwards with that energy, and then exhale, dip the right ear towards the right shoulder without misaligning the 2 shoulder joints. Inhaling for length, exhaling to turn the gaze. Take the next few breaths. See if you can relax the eyes even to the rightmost of your vision. We're trying to just release through the side of the left neck and just breathe. Deep breath, maybe the shoulder, the collarbones lift at the top of that inhale. The exhale, just a release, melting down or rooting down at the feet if it's not already there. And after that last exhale, we can inhale the eyes, the gaze, the head completely back up, and then exhale, left ear dips towards the left shoulder, right shoulder, left shoulder still in one horizontal line. Hopefully by now you've turned your gaze on the exhale and just using the next few breaths. If you transitioned and noticed the body started to move out of your previous root position, just coax it back. If the right shoulder lifted, bring it back in line with the left, bring it on down. If you find your distribution of weight at the soles of the feet are rolling outward, just press a little inward towards the arches. Make those minute changes as the body responds. After that last exhale, go ahead and inhale the eyes, the head, completely back up. So all we have to do is exhale, let the eyes float down towards the top of the mat. Long neck, space about the size of a tennis ball underneath the chin. Breathe here, keep the shoulders rotated back and down. And notice how the body is holding itself. Should have a nice long neck, slight tilt of the crown of the head, and just the breath to help move the energy through the body. After that last exhale, go ahead and inhale the eyes back to the midline, past the midline, draw the gaze upward till you can see, and then stop craning the neck. We want to keep that eye level just rolled up there without injuring the neck, straining the neck. And just try to give yourself a few open, soft, small O's to maybe in a larger sized O with the mouth. Maybe you can just gently sway the lower jaw. Notice if you're furrowing the brow. See if you can just let the face relax. But keep the shoulders down to the heels, that solid column of support. And then after the last exhale, go ahead and bring the gaze back down to the midline, back to center. Shake out anything that's still actively being held in the hands, in the hips, in the feet, toes. And we'll start our sun salutations, our walking meditation, modified sun salutations, with hands reaching downward, starting with our folds. Inhale, extend the arms upwards. We're still reaching. And at the top, lift up with the torso, press down with the soles of the feet at the big base of the toes. Engage the core and hinge at the hips. Bend the knees if you need. Start to slowly fold at the hips. Halfway down, you can always walk the hands down or just let your back unfold. Let it float on down. It's our first fold. It's our rag doll of a fold because we're staying here for about 5 breath cycles. It's pretty long. Now, if you're tight in the legs, you might benefit from a deeper bend to the knees. You might be able to bend one knee and then gently lengthen that leg and then alternate with the other leg. If you find your balance changes, focus on that. Try to keep that balance from the hips down to the heels. Let the tailbone down the spine, the neck, base of the skull just relax. Let that skull, brain, basket just be a nice plumb weight. You can bobble the head any which way. See if you can just release any hold onto the head. And then one more breath cycle. As you finish your exhale, prepare to roll out of this by simply engaging the core, pressing into the feet. You can even use your hands to help walk the spine, the back. Return to mountain. One vertebra at a time stacks. Head is the last to stack on the neck. Palms facing forward. Let the blood rush back to your head. And then we're going to fold one more time. Resetting our mountain if we need to. Reaching downward. Inhale, extend the arms up. Exhale, engage the core, hinge at the hips, bend the knees, fold. Float on down, walk the hands down, come on down. Shorter time here in our fold, about 3 breath cycles now. You can always sway the hips. You can straighten the legs, maybe a little more. See what works for you. Keep your bend if you need it. And then we're going to inhale, press into your shins or wherever your hands have contact, or your forearms if that's what it is. And we just want to lengthen through the back. Maybe it's a 90-degree angle at the hips and the back. Maybe it's more of a 15-degree angle. That's okay, just lengthen. And then exhale, relax, let the torso move back towards the fold, and then engage the core once more. Press into the feet, firm up the legs, bend the knees if you need. Come on up with a slow roll up or with a straight back. Inhaling strongly all the way back up to mountain. Reach all the way up, lengthening. Exhale, hands down, heart center. Inhale, let's start our walking meditation. Lift the right foot. Exhale, the right foot down. Slow, steady movements here. Inhale, the left foot up. Exhale it down. And it's okay if you wobble, if you fall out. Just come on back. And we'll make our way to the top of the mat. 1 full breath cycle per step. At the top of the mat, let's meet in mountain, looking down at the fingertips. Press into the palms. Watch the fingertips rise. Inhaling. At the top, separate the palms. Exhale, engage the core, hinge at the hips. Keep the bend if you need. Float on down, walk on down. For a third fold, inhale, press into your shins, the feet, the floor. Lengthen to a half lift, looking down at the floor. Exhale, bend the knees if you need. Bring the hands down to either side of the feet. Step a right foot back, left foot. Come on back to the mat. inhaling, shoulders over the wrists for high plank. We're going to bring the knees down, untuck the toes for a modified high plank. Engaged core, really stick the belly button towards the spine, and see if you can feel the extension moving from the shoulder blades all the way down to the wrists. Nice strong arms, and keep the lower body supported by the shins, the tops of the feet. And then we'll take one more inhale here. Tuck the toes, lift up the hips, and exhale. Press the hips, press through those extended arms to your back, to your down dog at the back of the mat. And the hips might be, actually the heels might be lifted, and that's okay. The hips are moving towards the ceiling, and you might have an upside down V, you might have a upside down U, but we're working towards keeping that lifted feeling at the hips while the feet and the arms are moving in their direction towards the floor. The legs are lengthening, but you can keep that deep bend as you need it. Take one more deep inhale, one more deep exhale. And then we can roll our eyes towards our hands. Keep the bend to your knees if you need. And go ahead, exhale, fold. We're walking the hands to the back of the mat to our fold. Fully exhaled here, inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come on up, engage your core. Your choice, roll up or all the way back up with a straight back. Lengthen at the top. Exhale, hands down, heart center. Press into the palms. Inhale, standing weight to the left side. Once more, we'll lift the right foot, set it down, starting our walking meditation. Pressing into the palms helps to keep your stability, your balance, as well as engaged core. So if you feel wobbly, see if you can re-engage those parts of your body and see if that helps. At the top of the mat, let's go ahead and look at the fingertips, pressing into the palms, lifting them. At the top, let's go ahead and separate the palms. Exhale, hinge at the hips, engaged core, float on down to the fold. Fully exhaled here. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Hands at either side of the feet. Step a right leg back and a left. Our high plank this time. So inhale, shoulders over the wrists once more. Long legs this time. That hypotenuse from the heels all the way to the crown of the head. Belly button is sticking to the spine, engaged core, and you're strong from the shoulders down to the wrists. Inhale once more, lift up the hips. Exhale, press, down dog. And again, the heels might be lifted. They might be straight down, flat on the mat. Wherever it is, if you have your heels lifted, you can press into your arms, your hands, lift up through the hips, and then exhale slowly, lower the heels, and they'll land where they need to. We can look to the hands with the next inhale. Exhale, we can walk our hands to the back of the mat. Fully exhaled here into our fold. Bend the knees if you need. Inhale, half lift, lengthen through the legs as you can. Exhale, fold, return the torso to the fold. And then come on up, your choice once more. Firm up the body, firm up the core. Inhale, all the way back up to mountain. Lengthen and exhale, hands down, heart center, and finally down to the side. Let the shoulders melt down the back, palms facing forward. Hopefully you feel a little warmer. Maybe the blood feels like it's moving a little more through the body. Great time for a little bit of water. And our next pose here is just going to be our balancing pose. We're going to have a second half of that balance where we're going to try to lift the knee if that's for us, or if we're still working on our balance, just work on the balance. But I recommend bringing a block or a chair near you. You know, for some of us that have been in the class lately, we have been just focusing on balancing on one foot, getting that balance on the one foot before we start to release the other foot. Maybe a heel lifts, maybe the entire sole of the foot, and we'll start there. So if you've got the block near you, place it, I'm going to start with my right foot, so place it to the right of your foot, right in front of it, to the right side, in front of your right foot. If you have a chair that you prefer to have near you instead of this, you just want to have the ability to reach out for your chair. So depending on where you are, you could even have a wall. If you've got the block, if you've got the chair, all we're doing at this point is standing in our mountain. And we will be bringing standing weight to our left side of the body. So just focus in our mountain and then bring that weight to the side, to the left side with an inhale. And all you need to do is find that stability. Once you can balance there, finding that stability there, you can start to lift the right heel. Now you can bring it closer to the left foot if that feels good, but we want to keep it somewhat underneath the right hip. And all we're going to do is play with the balance. Can you lift the right heel and not feel that balance on the left side of the body change? Can you hover the sole of that foot without having the body change? Some days it's a little rockier than others, so don't worry, it's just how you're doing today. I don't know if you've run a marathon yesterday, I don't know if you've done a great deal of gardening work, but all that might be speaking to you today. And then we'll go ahead and rest the right foot. Find that balance between both sides of the body now. Gently bounce the knees, and then release from the left side of the body. You can kick forward, kick on that same side of that leg. That's the left for me, before you cross the midline. And hopefully you'll find a little release in that glute and all the hard-working standing muscles, skeletal, muscular system that keeps us upright. And we'll go ahead and move to the right standing leg now. So inhaling nice and tall in our mountain, bring the weight to the right side of the body, find that center. Give yourself a few breaths. See if you can lift the right heel, lift the foot, sole of the foot. That's all you need to do, and see if you can balance. Taking a few breaths here, that's all. And then you can bring the weight back to that left standing leg, redistribute evenly between the 2 feet, give yourself a bounce, see what's going on that right side, kick forward on the right leg, kick to the right before you cross over. All right, and then here's the second set where our block can come in. We're gonna go ahead and step on the block this time. And give yourself some positioning of the left foot, maybe where it's halfway down the block of the right foot. We want to once more find that standing weight on the left side of the body. We're just bringing this right foot up off of that, off of the floor, off of ground zero to begin with, just to help initiate. We want to strengthen through this right hip here. So as soon as you find that standing center of gravity on the left side, then see if you can lift the right foot. If not, at least engage so you feel like it's about to lift from this block. But you can play with that, and that's one way of just increasing, cultivating the strength in your right hip in this balance pose. That might be a little hard, so give yourself a few breaths only, and then you can go ahead and release. Bring the right foot back down. You can move that block. Find the distribution of weight evenly between both feet, the sides of the body. Do what you need to do to release. We'll move to the other side, moving the block to the left foot this time, and the right foot again, about halfway down the left, down that block. So finding that stability on the right side of the body now. We'll go ahead and just play with that. See if you can lift the knee. See if you can bring the knee a little higher, or just maintain it. Eventually, if you can bring your knee to the hip level, we're strengthening that, and that is little bits here in our gentle yoga. And then after about 3 to 5 breath cycles, we can go ahead and release. Bring the left foot down, bring even distribution of weight. See if you can release from there. Alrighty, and that's just something you can play with even more. So now as we're coming to the second balancing pose, we're moving to chair. And if you like to lift the heels, but you're still working on that strengthening, you can always keep the block behind you as well. And rest, walk, tiptoe back to the block if that feels good. We'll do that on the second round. We'll be lifting to the balls of the feet, to the tiptoes. But for now, we'll just do a regular chair. So finding our standing mountain, find even distribution of weight on the feet. That should feel a lot more pronounced now. Get our heel, our center of gravity somewhere at the top of the ankles, nearer to the heels. Tuck under your tailbone. See if you can gently press forward those hips just slightly. Inhale, bring the arms up. They might be out at a tangent. They might be vertically in line with your body. Exhale, just sink the hips downward by bending the knees until you feel your glutes engage. Your glutes engaged, your quads engaged, your calves engaged, with that center of gravity from the hips down to the heels. The deeper you go in your bend, the more challenging your chair. And as we start, it takes about a few breath cycles just to find that sweet spot. But once you do, go ahead and see if you can breathe 5 good deep breath cycles. Notice any changes in your center. Are you rolling out towards the outer right edge of the feet? Engage the core, and if you can, still maintain your deep breath. On every exhale, a solid, stable chair. Then we can inhale, just lengthen through the legs, bring the arms all the way up, exhale, hands down, heart center. And just let them relax. Let the shoulders relax, let them just melt down the back. Slight bend to the knees. And lifting your feet, we'll reset our mountain once more for our second set of chair. And if you want, we'll be rolling to our tiptoes, to the balls of the feet. And you can use your block to support your heels if you need. So standing once more in our mountain, nice and tall. Lengthen through your legs best that you can. See if you can bring that alignment now of not just the hips under the shoulders, but the ear over the shoulders. Everything in one nice vertical line. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, engage the core and sink the hips. Bend the knees. Engage the core. Get the glutes working, firing. Feel them actively supporting you. More in the hips, in the glutes, than in the quads. Lift the toes. Make sure that you're balanced with much of your center at the top of the ankles near to the heels. Go ahead and lower the toes. Hopefully you didn't find any change in your center. If you want to bring the arms down, you can. If you want to extend through with more energy, bring the pinkies inward. Take another inhale and let's roll to the tiptoes. Keep the knees steady, and you can or walk the feet to the back of the block, but engage. Engage the inner thigh muscles, the quads, the glutes, the back side, still engaged. And then we'll go ahead and bring the hands down, heart center, out to the sides. Go ahead and lengthen through the legs, step off the block if you need, and just lower the feet. And take a good deep breath. You might give yourself a little bit of a jiggle from side to side, bounce the knees, just slowly give yourself that side to side movement once more. And we've been working on those hips so tightly, so strongly that they might be really tight. So this is a good time for hip opener. Now, using the chair, I highly recommend this, even if you like to use the blocks and like to do your hip opener with a low lunge from the blocks. This will just give you a good opportunity to really let go in a secure, supported manner. So bringing the right hip to the edge of the seat, just like this, so that your left hip is kind of dangling off. You can use your right hand to kind of drape it over the side here. That'll help you hold it up. And all you're doing is creating this 90-degree angle as we typically do with our low lunge. We want to keep that pelvic bowl tipped forward slightly. So we have a nice flexion to this right hip, that 90-degree angle. This is going to be our support. We're stepping into the right foot and then just releasing, keeping only the muscles needed to keep this general form on the right side, the right leg. With the left, we're just trying to relax the right leg. And what you'll notice is, if it's really tight, you're just going to have a good time right here, where you're in a little less of a flexion than maybe in standing. So they're sitting. Anyhow, so you're here and you're trying to open up the left hip and you're bringing this left foot slightly back. It can be on the tips of the toes. It can be on the tops of the ankles. You're just hopefully opening this up, and the knee will get to this 6 o'clock position. It'll just basically get closer to the floor. You have the stability of the chair to help you. You don't have to worry about keeping too much going on with the right hip, other than just that nice flexion supported, while the left hip is just releasing. Keep an upright spine. If you have a curve to the back, you can just work on lengthening, keeping the shoulders rotated back and down. And from here, it's going to be a pretty lengthy opening, so give yourself 5 good deep breath cycles. If you need to come out with the toes, with the legs, you can. But see if you can hold that opening and use the breath, the ocean breath, to help you release. Inhaling draws in the energy, hopefully travels through the body to all points. Hopefully you can find any achiness so that on the exhale, those can leave the body with the breath. And if it's feeling really good to you and you just like that extra, that you might be able to reach down, grab a hold of your leggings, your ankle, your toes, and you can assist. If that feels good, you don't have to do it too deeply, but that gives you just a nice little stretch. You can use the cuff of your pants. You can just use your toes to kind of slide the tops of your toes back. We're opening up through the left hip. Now as we approach our exit, we're just going to draw the left foot back to center, flat foot, flat sole of the foot, just inching it back up here to the other foot. And we can slide on over to the other side. So nice and easy. And here, we're going to just do the same thing. Feel good support on this left hip. Get secured, anchored to the back of the chair. The left hip, left thigh. The 90-degree angle position of the left leg, nice and solid. And we can focus on releasing through the right leg. Keep the spine, the back nice and straight. Pelvic tilt a little forward at the top of the hips, a little back at the tailbone. And then hopefully you can open up through this right hip. I'm very tented and tight. So for me, I'm lucky if I can get my right leg, my right thigh at a 90-degree angle. We're working towards that to just open it up. You can have a deep, like low lunge opening as well. The farther you bring that foot back behind the chair. You can just focus more of the stretch around the quads if that feels good, and not so keenly on just the hip. You can just reach down for the left heel. Maybe you have your strap. If I had told you that, sorry. You might have the cuff of your foot, the cuff of your legging, the material of your legging, whatever it takes to just get a hold of it and just release. The right hip is hopefully opening up, and you can facilitate drawing that knee to more of a perpendicular position to the floor, or just letting it relax on its own. Another deep breath here. And we can slide on out, sliding that right foot, inching the toes back up in line with the others. And we can go ahead and bring both feet and pivot to the front if you'd like. Give a 90-degree angle to both of your feet. Soles of the feet are flat on the floor, and sit up nice and tall. Let the arms just dangle at the side. We're going to inhale. Bring the arms up at the sides. Turn with the exhale, the torso, and then let the arms lower. Fully exhaled here. Let the shoulders relax. Inhaling. One more exhale, turn the gaze. Maybe just a little more, maybe the eyes only. And then we can inhale, turn the gaze back to center with the chest. Bring the torso all the way back to center. Relax here. Inhale, bring the arms all the way back up once more. Exhale, turn the torso as you're still reaching up, and then fully exhaled, the arms can float down. And we'll just take an inhale here, nice and long. And then exhale, turn the gaze, maybe a little more. Maybe the eyes land to the leftmost. And then inhale, eyes, gaze back in center with the chest, and then the entire torso comes back to the front. We'll go ahead and lean back, bring the hands to the back of the chair, and just let the knees pivot over to one side. Rolling on the feet, you can just windshield wipe. And then we're making our way down to the belly, so come on down, best that you can. If you're on the chair, if you are not, then just make your way on down to the mat, and we'll meet on our belly. Again, giving some support to opening up the belly. And this is the first time that I've been on the belly all day. So it feels extremely good, I think, in the transition down to just allow the body to be supported. You might have a head turned to one side. Go ahead and balance with a turn to the other as well. And then we'll go ahead and bring the brow line back to center, pressing into the chest and the belly to just slightly support the body as you turn the face. And then just giving ourselves a moment here. Hands are at our side. We're going to turn the palms to the mat. And then inhale, lengthen through the left leg while it's still on the mat. We're going to point the toe just slightly, lengthen through that leg. See if you can feel the left hip bone. Make good contact all the way down the thigh, down to the toes, to the top of the feet. Maybe the ankle might be lifted some, but just give it a nice long lengthening, and then relax it. Relax the glute, let it melt. Inhale, once more, lengthen through the right leg. Keep in contact with the mat. Your lengthening might not actually move the leg too much, or the intention of it might just be that much movement. Very small, if at all. And then relax. Let the glute relax, let the thighs. One more deep inhale and exhale. Then we're going to bring the arms out to our sides. If it's comfortable to bring them out to a 90-degree angle to the body, out to a T, good. If it feels better on your shoulders to bring them only 15 degrees out, somewhere in between there, then do that. With the next inhale, we're going to lengthen through the legs and the arms with the palms down, fingers together. We're just lengthening all the way down, best that we can. See if you can get your hips to engage all the way from the glutes down to the toes. Get the arms to engage from the belly, chest, all the way up the shoulders and down the arms. And then we're going to inhale, lift the feet. See if you can lift the hands. You're still engaging through these limbs, so if you can lift them even higher, the entire limb can lift. If it's just the toes, then it's just the toes. And then roll the toes, legs, and then hands, arms, and face back down. You can bring the arms back up to support the forehead if that feels good, or just bring them to your side, palm side up, and turn the gaze if that feels more comfortable. Now, depending on your shoulders, if it feels good, you might be able to just bring the back of your upper arms, the elbows to rest, and you'll get a nice stretch of the triceps, the delts, the back, the upper back, those muscles, the trapezius, the rhomboids, those shoulders, the muscles that move the shoulders will get a nice stretch away from the spine. And with the elbows up, if you just gently start to release a little more and more of the upper body down, you might even get more of the armpit to land onto the mat. Maybe you might need to widen through the shoulders a little bit. That'll hopefully keep those shoulders protracted away from the spine and relaxed, just stretching a little bit. Take a few deep breaths as you actively bring yourself to the position, and then you can release from there while you're still holding that position, using only the muscles needed without greatly activating anything. Your fingertips might be resting at the tops of the back of the shoulders. They might be at the tops of your head. They might be just in front of your body, out in front of you. We'll go ahead and bring those arms down again once more. Rest them along the side of your body with the palms up, and turn the gaze once more to the left. See if you can, if you've already had your face on the ground here, see if you can turn more of the skin towards the ear onto the mat. And don't force it, just see if that occurs, since you've already rested a little bit and the neck is nice and stretched. We'll give our gentle press of the chest slightly so we can lift the face, hover the nose as we turn the gaze to the other side, and rest our cheek, maybe more of the skin on the left side, towards the left ear. But keep the neck in line with the spine. We're just turning at the face. We're not curving the neck to the right. Notice if the body can relax after a few breaths. See if that shoulder was lifted. And see if it can just melt into the mat. And then take another gentle breath, pressing into the chest and the belly. We'll bring the face back to center, bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, and just walk the fingers up. Bring the elbows underneath the shoulders, and hopefully your lower body is just feeling like a nice relaxed anchor from the hips down to the toes. Just lengthen a little bit to get any pinched skin away from each other, any folded skin. And the feet can be pointed towards the corners of the mat, or just, directly under the hips, your choice. But as we move now into our Sphinx position, we're going to relax the lower body and see if you can just keep minimal activation of the muscles needed to keep the upper body sort of lifted. We've got the forearms all the way down to the palms and fingertips, just giving us a support from the elbows down to the tips, so that the shoulders don't have to work too hard supporting the body, and the neck and the back and the chest. So see if the shoulders are pushing in towards the spine. We want to protract them away from the spine. So the balls of the shoulders should be moving away from the spine. And then the shoulder blades themselves just melting down the back. So just feel as if your shoulders are moving out and down, just like in our warm-ups. And if you feel a pinching at the lower back, just slowly pull forward and release. Don't lift up so high with the head. Keep that gaze just resting right here at about where the thumbs are, somewhere at the middle. You don't have to lift the neck. You don't have to crane it. We want to keep it in line with the spine, and hopefully the shoulders are not collapsing into the spine, into the neck. Keep your breath. 3 good deep breath cycles here. See if you can feel your rib cage expand sideways with each inhale. Maybe the skin at the top of the rib cage lifts, and only that. And after your last exhale, slowly let the chest return. Move the elbows out to the side, pivot the palms, so that you can pillow the forehead with the back of the hands. And then relax. Maybe the shoulders can just melt into the mat. Now, we'll be transitioning to our back into a base bridge position for the next one. So however feels good to you is safe. I like to extend through one arm, then use the other hand to kind of kickstand and roll me over to the other side. If you like to reverse push up, if you like to sit up on hands and knees, make that transition. Coming back, meeting in base bridge. Our spine and neck are aligned. Our feet are about hips distance apart, heel to toe alignment, near to the bottom, but not up against the backside. And bring out your hands and palms down. We're just going to relax. Exhale, let the knees slowly release, rolling on the edge of your feet. You're just going to release to one side. If you can reach for a block and you want to place it there, you can go ahead and do that. We're going to stay here for about 5 breath cycles, just a nice savored windshield wipe. You might have that release in the left hip. You might have it in the right hip, maybe in the right ankle. You don't want to feel, hopefully, any type of torquing in that left knee, so it doesn't have to, rest on the right shin. It can be hovering there in the air. You're essentially just rolling on the inner arch, perhaps at the most, of that left foot. Maybe it's just the edge. And after you reach your 5th breath cycle, we're going to prepare to come out. You might need to help bring the knees up with your hands. Just gently inhale, press into your sacrum, bring the knees back up, bring the sacrum back to the mat, fully balanced. And if you were askew for some reason in that transition, realign the back, the neck, and the hips and the feet. We'll bring our arms out once more, palms down, and let the knees roll softly, gently to the other side. They will land where they need to. If you have the block and would like to have a landing pad, go ahead and place that there. Otherwise, maybe gravity will help you release. There seems to be a point with the body where if we move suddenly that we're not used to, the body just seizes up. It doesn't allow us to release completely into that position. So that's why the 3 to 5 breaths, sometimes finding that edge, so to speak, helps us to override that protective mechanism, that protective reflex. And then suddenly your body feels, oh, it's all right. Yeah, maybe I can release a little more. Maybe it doesn't. Just depends. Listen to the body. And as you approach your 5th breath cycle, we'll again prepare to come out. Use your hands if you need. We're bringing on an inhale the sacrum back to the mat, the knees back up, and realigning anything that may have just came out of position. So coming back here, we'll go ahead and start windshield wiping with a little more faster frequency. So now you can go to one side, maybe try and see if you can just shift on over to the other side, and then pretty soon you might just be windshield wiping at a frequency that's comfortable for you. And then we'll meet back here and just let your legs slide on down. I believe we are moving into a Shavasana. And for the next few minutes, your body will respond, hopefully. So give the body any last minute movement, maybe overhead stretch, maybe a wiggling of the toes, fingers, maybe tapping of the knees. But as you stretch out and get comfortable, put a blanket on if that helps to keep you warm. I will sit upright to mind the time. And when you hear the 3 bells, we'll awaken. Bringing the mind back to the body, taking note of sounds outside the room, sounds within the room, and finally back to your breath. The chest rises with the inhale, the belly falls with each exhale. As you make your way back to your body vessel, wiggle the feet, the toes, jiggle the knees, rock the body. Make any movement to bring you back to the present. And we'll make our way to an upright seated position, either staff or one leg, one shin out in front of the other. You can even sit in a hybrid form if that feels good to you, if that's speaking to you. We'll end our class with our alternate nostril breathing exercise. And here, we're just bringing balance to both of the sides of our body, as well as our breathing. Our nervous system, according to the yogic philosophy, has a system where we're breathing through one side and then alternately with the other. And it changes about every hour, I hear. Very interesting. So to bring that into balance, we bring our hands into a mudra position of chin for the left hand and a Vishnu mudra for the right, bringing the right nostril to close with the right thumb, left nostril with the right ring finger. And of course, you also have this alternate position to close like so. So, keeping a nice deep inhale, exhale, close the right nostril, exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close, exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Close, exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close, exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Close, exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close, exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Close, exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close, exhale through the right. Last round. Inhale through the right. Close, exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close, exhale through the right. Release the right hand. Release the left hand. Let the breath return to its natural state. Bringing hands to heart center. Thank you so much for joining me here at the ACC Community Room for Gentle Yoga at noon. Hope you have a wonderful day. Namaste.